She was the kind of woman people never suspected. Quiet, soft-spoken, devoted to her art, her students, her routines. Claire Mitchell lived a life of structure and simplicity, until the day she met him. It was a rainy Tuesday in late October when their paths first crossed. She had taken shelter in a downtown bookstore cafe, flipping through a second-hand novel, when a man stumbled past her table, knocking over a stack of sketchbooks. Their eyes met. He apologized. She smiled. His name was Jax. No last name given. Just Jax. He was charming, effortlessly confident, with eyes that looked like they'd seen too much, and a smile that made her forget the world outside. They talked. Then talked some more. Hours passed. Coffee turned to wine. That night, he walked her home. Within weeks, they were inseparable. Claire's friends were surprised. This wasn't like her. She had always been careful, measured. But with Jax, it was like she had come alive. Spontaneous weekend trips. Midnight motorcycle rides. Passion. Laughter. Secrets. But there were cracks, small ones at first. Jax didn't talk about his past. He never carried credit cards. He was always on the move, always looking over his shoulder. One night, she noticed something else. He had bruises on his knuckles. He brushed it off. Ran into some trouble. Nothing I couldn't handle. She didn't ask again. Until one night she did. It was storming. Claire had gone to grab a sweater from his closet, and that's when she found it. A black duffel bag. Inside, a gun. 3 passports. Stacks of $100 bills. Rubber gloves. A burner phone. She froze. Her blood ran cold. Everything she had tried not to question was now screaming at her. When she confronted him, Jax didn't lie. He sat her down and told her everything. He'd grown up rough. Foster homes. Street gangs. By the time he was 17, he was already boosting cars and running with older criminals. Over time, he became smarter, more calculated. He stopped taking orders and started giving them. Now he was a ghost, moving city to city, job to job. A one-man crew with no strings. But then, he met her. And he said she made him want to stop. Claire wanted to believe him. Part of her did believe him. But another part, a darker part, was curious. She could have walked away. She almost did. But she didn't. What followed was a slow descent. So slow, she didn't even realize how far she'd gone until it was too late. Jax started opening up more. Letting her in. Not just emotionally, but operationally. First, she drove him to a meeting. Then, she helped map out a back road. Soon she was holding the bag. Literally. It didn't feel wrong, at first. It felt exciting. Dangerous. Empowering. She had spent her life following the rules. And now she was rewriting them. Their first job together was a pawn shop in Arizona. No masks. No weapons. Just a clever con. Claire posed as a customer while Jax slipped into the back and emptied the safe. They made off with 15 grand. The rush was electric. From there, the jobs escalated. Bank drops. Jewelry stores. High-end cons. No fingerprints. No trails. No witnesses. The media dubbed them the Phantom Lovers. The FBI had sketches. The states had warrants. But no one had names. Not yet. And Claire, she was falling deeper. Not just in love with Jax, but with the adrenaline, the power, the freedom. She didn't recognize the reflection in the mirror anymore, and she didn't care. But crime always comes with a cost. And that cost came due one winter morning in Chicago. They had planned to hit a private courier, an armored car with a routine route and a vulnerable window. The intel was solid. The timing was perfect. Until it wasn't. A guard who wasn't supposed to be there showed up early. He reached for his gun. Jax pulled his first. The shot rang out like thunder. Claire was in the driver's seat. She watched it all unfold in the rearview mirror, frozen. The guard dropped. Jax jumped in. They sped away. Blood on his jacket. Silence between them. That night, the headlines changed. No longer Phantom. No longer faceless. The security camera had caught Claire's profile as she turned to look back. The world now knew her name. And the man she loved had become a killer. In the days that followed, Claire would face the hardest choice of her life. Stay with the man who shattered everything, or walk away before it destroyed her too. But walking away was never part of the plan. Not for Jax. And not for her. Because by then, Claire wasn't just an accomplice. She was in it. In love. In deep. In danger. And the worst was still to come. After the Chicago job went sideways, everything changed. The headlines no longer called them the Phantom Lovers. They called them what they were now. Fugitives. Claire Mitchell, once a beloved art teacher, was now plastered across national news. Armed and dangerous, they said. She wasn't just helping Jax. She had become his partner in crime. And the man she had fallen for? He had blood on his hands. Real blood. They fled Chicago under cover of darkness, ditching the car and their phones. By morning, they were ghosts again, using cash and burner phones, sleeping in cheap motels off forgotten highways. But this wasn't like before. This time, the thrill was gone. Replaced by fear. Paranoia. Regret. Claire barely spoke. Jax stayed glued to the scanner. Every siren, every knock at the door, it set her heart racing. He kept telling her, "We're almost out. Just one more job, one more score, and we disappear for good." But she'd heard that before. And now, the FBI was closing in. In Albuquerque, they changed their names. In El Paso, they changed their looks. Jax was now Logan. Claire dyed her hair jet black. She stopped calling home. Her family had already disowned her. Her face was everywhere, from news tickers to America's Most Wanted. But despite everything, she stayed. Because somewhere inside she still loved him. Or maybe she was just too far gone to turn back. Then came the next heist. A casino drop box. Inside, nearly $500,000 in cash. The plan was simple. In and out before midnight. No guards. No weapons. Clean. But Claire didn't know the real plan. Jax had made a deal. Not just with another crew. But with someone far worse. A fixer. A killer. A man known only as Red. Red was ruthless. He didn't do clean jobs. He didn't leave survivors. And now, they were working for him. Claire only found out when it was too late. That night, the air was thick with tension. The job went smooth, too smooth. They got the money. But as they were walking out, Claire noticed something. Red wasn't just watching the cameras. He was watching her. Later, back at the safe house, Red made it clear. He didn't trust her. And if Jax ever slipped, she would be the first to pay. Jax tried to play it off. But Claire saw something different in his eyes now. Fear. For the first time. Jax wasn't in control. They were no longer just running from the law. They were caught between the FBI and a violent criminal network that didn't forgive failure. And the pressure was breaking them. Claire started writing letters she never mailed. To her sister. To her mother. To the version of herself she left behind. She wanted out. She told Jax. But Jax said something that chilled her to the bone. "There's no out anymore, Claire. We either keep running, or we get buried." 3 nights later, in the desert just outside Tucson, something happened. They were sleeping in the back of a stolen van when headlights appeared. Jax grabbed his gun. Claire reached for the keys. A black SUV pulled up behind them. No words. Just a silhouette stepping out. A man with a red bandana covering half his face. Red. Claire's breath caught in her throat. Red walked slowly toward them. Jack stepped out, trying to reason, to negotiate. Claire stayed hidden, but she saw the gun in Red's hand. What happened next was fast, loud, blinding. 3 shots. 1 body hit the ground. Claire screamed. She reached for the wheel, slammed her foot on the gas, and sped off into the night. Alone. She didn't look back. She didn't stop. She drove until the van ran out of gas, then disappeared into the desert on foot. But the question now was, who had fallen? Was it Jax? Was it Red? And where would Claire run now, with no money, no plan, and a murder she might have just witnessed? The answers would come. But not all of them would lead her back. In the heart of the desert, just before dawn, Claire Mitchell stood alone. Her hands trembled. Her face was streaked with dust and tears. The van was long behind her, abandoned like the life she used to know. And ahead? Nothing but silence. And the weight of a decision she could never take back. She didn't know who was alive, or dead. Red. Jax. The last thing she saw was the muzzle flash. Then she ran. Because sometimes, you don't wait to ask questions. You just survive. Claire hitchhiked her way out of Arizona, changed her name again, and checked into a roadside motel under a new identity. Ava Lane. For 2 weeks she stayed low. No calls. No TV. Just a loaded revolver under her pillow. But she couldn't escape her thoughts. Or the memories. Or the guilt. She replayed the moment over and over. Jack stepping between her and Red. The gunshots. The blur. The blood. And the silence that followed. Then, one morning, the silence broke. A knock at the door. 3 sharp taps. Claire froze. She reached for the gun. Room service, a voice called. But there was no tray. No cart. No footsteps retreating. Just a small envelope. Slipped under the door. Inside. A photo. Her. Sleeping. The message on the back? We're not done. Red was alive. And somehow, he had found her. She knew what that meant. Jax hadn't made the deal. Hadn't killed Red. Which meant Jax was dead. The man she ran for. Lied for. Killed her old life for. Gone. And now, Red wanted to tie up loose ends. Claire had 2 options. Run again. Change names. Disappear. Hope Red didn't catch up. Or fight back. She chose the latter. That night, she drove to Vegas, Red's territory. She knew the risk. But she had nothing left to lose. Using what she learned from Jax, she found Red's runner. Then his safe house. And finally, Red himself. She walked in unarmed. No fear on her face. Only resolve. What do you want? He sneered. Her voice was steady. I'm here to finish what Jax started. He laughed. Mocked her. Told her she wasn't built for this life. Then, she reached into her jacket. Pulled out a recording device. The FBI had been following the trail for months. Ever since the Chicago shooting. They'd gotten close, but never close enough. Until Claire called them the night before. Within minutes, the raid began. Red didn't make it out. Claire testified. Gave them names. Details. Locations. It was over. Or so it seemed. Claire Mitchell didn't go to prison. She entered witness protection. A new name. A new life. A new city. But the ghosts, they followed her. Every night she dreamed of Jax. Sometimes holding her hand. Sometimes asking why she ran. Sometimes saying nothing at all. The headlines faded. The world moved on. But Claire never really did. Because in the end, you don't escape a life like that.